Okay, so this is the Rebump dashboard where right now, as you can see, there are three tabs. There's the emails tab, the bumps tab, and the accounts tab. Right now we're in the bumps tab, which is where you set up your bumps and sequences. Bumps are the messages the follow-up messages that get sent out for every message. So here you would be able to set it up. Rebump out of the box comes with one sequence of messages already set up, but here you can edit them and edit them to fit your own needs. So here right now we're in the default sequence. As you can see, there are 4 bumps by default. You can edit the message right here and with the WYSIWYG editor, and you can write whatever message you want. You can also edit the intervals, meaning when your bump should be sent, so it should be 1 day after the original message or 2 days. So right now this one is set for 2 days after the original message. The next bump, as you can see, is 2 days after the first bump, and so forth. We also allow them to personalize their bumps, so they can put in hi, first name, and they can do that by using the available variables, which they can see on the right side of their editing screen. Now, to create these variables, they would go into the personalize your bump screen. Here they can set up a spreadsheet with up to 5 columns with different variables. So let's say first name, last name, account, company, or whatever it can be. And then they can add contacts. So they would add an email address, the person's name, and so forth. And once they're in the system, they can use their first name would show up in the email. They can also import a CSV with all these contact information. There's also another way to add the contact information, which is at the time of sending the email message, and I'll show you that soon. So back to the bumps. So this is how you would edit the templates, the bump templates. You can also add a totally new sequence of bumps. As you can see, I've already preset up a whole bunch of them. So each template, each sequence has different templates, and you can use them for different purposes. One is for pre-sale, one is for sales follow-up, etc., etc. There's an unlimited amount of sequences you can add, and each sequence can have up to 10 bumps. So by default it comes with 4, but you can add as many as you want, up to 10. So by clicking here, add another bump, and then you can delete it, and the last bump you can always turn on or off. So if you turn this one on off, you can turn off the previous one as well, and so forth. Now there's a timeline here on the side to help you see which day each bump will be sent out. You can delete a sequence from right here. You can send a test to see, what all the sequences, all the messages on the sequence would look, so you can test it before you send it out. So now we're going to take a look at how it actually sends a message in Gmail. So I would switch to my Gmail account, and I'm going to click on Compose, and as you can see, when I compose there, in the Compose window, there's a checkbox here for Rebump. When you click that, it adds a BCC address to your email, and that would allow Rebump to follow up on your thread to check if there's a reply. And right next to the checkbox, there's a drop down which lets you choose which sequence you want to use for this message. it's set to default. I'll show you soon how that's done in the account tab of the dashboard, where you can set your default sequence you want to use. So right now it's set to sales follow-up, and I would set up a subject, so let's say test for this case, and test message, and I would click send. 1 second, I forgot to put in a recipient, so let's choose a recipient. Now when you click send, in the case where Rebump does not have the recipient's contact information, or it's missing some of the contact information, and we are using a sequence that is using the personalization variable, so first name and last name. So in that case, Rebump will prompt you for the missing information. So that's another great way of adding contacts without having to add them in advance or with a CSV. So you can just click, you can add the information right here. So let's say in this case I would add Rebump, and I would click update information, and now it's in the, if we go back to the contacts spreadsheet, we'll see that the information has been updated. So back to Gmail. So now this message has been sent, and that's all that needs to be done. Rebump will take over from here and start sending out the bumps. Now, if we go back to the emails tab, we can see the messages that have been sent out. This new message didn't show up yet. It sometimes takes a few minutes if we have a heavy load of traffic. So here we can see all the messages that are still active. So we have 3 messages which have not been bumped yet, but it tells us when the next bump will be. It would also show if the bumps were sent out. It would show you if the bump was opened and read or not. It also indicates how many bumps were already sent. In this case, none. So all of the dots are gray. But in the case where they would be sent, or some of them would be sent, they would change to red. So it would be, let's say, 2 out of 4 have been sent, so 2 would be red. Here you can see some reporting of how many messages were sent today, how many overall, and then how many were rescued. Rescued means how many messages were responded to because you bumped them. Here you can filter which sequence you want to see. So you can see the messages for specific sequences. Now we can take a look at the account tab. This is where you would have your account information and some settings, which we can go through quickly. This will tell you information about your account. You can also change your plan. You can also update your credit card information, customers. Okay, so here you have some settings. You can set your time zone and also which days you want bumps to be allowed to be sent. In other words, some people might not want bumps to be sent on weekends, so they can uncheck Sunday and maybe Saturday, and also they can say only send my bumps between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., etc. They can also choose to get a daily summary in their email. So they can choose that here. They can choose daily, weekly, or monthly. They can also add this is great for people that are working with a CRM. Many CRMs supply a BCC address, which allows you to send a copy of every message that gets sent from Gmail that should also be sent to the CRM. So this is great for the bumps, which you don't send yourself. So if you add a BCC address here, a copy of every bump will be sent to your CRM so it can keep tab of it. Here is what I mentioned earlier in Gmail. This is where you set up your default sequence to be pre-chosen in Gmail when you send your bumps. This is where you can set up if you want to get a notification. So let's say if you have set up that 4 bumps get sent out, and after the 4 bumps, nobody, the recipient did not reply. If you check this box, you will be notified. You will get in your email a box. In your inbox, you'll get a notification, an email letting you know that all 4 of the bumps have been sent, but the person did not reply. After 2 days after the last bump, if you still have no reply, it will let you know. So some people find this very useful. So this way they can follow up and do more follow-up manually or whatnot, or start a new sequence. I think this basically covers most of what Rebump does in a nutshell. And again, it's very simple to use, as you can see, and that's about it.